a donor does not equal a dad.
It just really sucks that I don't have a dad.
Donors can lie on their applications.
Hi.
Ready to chat?
Ready to
Is
chat.
there coffee?
I don't have a coffee because I have a sore throat, so I actually got a lemon honey drink.
Okay, that's very responsible.
I sound a little...
If we sound sick, it's because we have twin toddlers. But today, we're going to have another little chat with you guys about what we wish we knew before using a donor.
That's a lot of things.
I know, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things I wish I knew. So let's get into it.
So we used a sperm donor, to conceive our twin boys. We used a donor from a sperm bank. Open ID was important to us.
Yep. Yeah.
It's technically a U.S. donor imported to Canada, where we're from. So most donors are imported in Canada. I think that's the gist of it.
That's the gist of it.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
What did we wish we knew? Using a donor doesn't make us any less of their mothers.
I think we knew this.
We did know this.
So we knew this, but you don't know how you're going to feel, I guess, once the kids are born.
Yeah.
But I think for us, it didn't change at all.
No.
We are both their moms.
Yeah.
I'm not genetically related to them, and I feel like 100% their mom. I've never felt less of their mom.
Do you think that you would feel less of their mom if you weren't genetically related and you didn't give birth to them?
No.
Just asking the tough questions.
Yeah. I mean, everyone feels different.
Yeah.
And I know some people do struggle with
Yeah.
not being a biological parent.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't think about it ever.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
We forget that we're not both genetically related
And
to
our
them.
families forget all the time because they'll be like,
my mare was left-handed.
yeah, and we're like, oh, well.
It's genetic. And we're like, well, we don't know if it is also
Not
there's
related
no
to
relation there. So it's funny.
I think it would have been really beneficial to see a therapist or a counselor that like specializes in donor conception before choosing a donor, before having donor conceived kids. Like, I think it just would have been so helpful. And
Well, they would have brought up all this stuff, I think.
I think they would have.
I think you're supposed to. In
I
a
think
lot of
100%
fertility clinics, you are required to. And on our paperwork, it said you had to, but I don't know.
never did.
I
No
don't
one ever
know
brought
if
it
it's
up.
a thing anymore. I do think it would have been beneficial because
would
they
have.
probably would have brought up these points. I don't know if it would have changed our path, but it might have given us a head start on thinking about it. Yeah, it would have been beneficial to do.
I think it would have been.
But
there are lots
we
of
didn't.
people that are like specialized in donor conception and can talk to you about things.
Yeah.
I think even just to get rid of like biases that we have that we don't even realize we have. I think it just would have been good to help us think. Critically.
Yeah. Get the thoughts started before we had the kids and then crossed all the bridges.
Yeah. In a lot of countries, there aren't laws to protect donor conceived people. Things aren't enforced. There's guidelines, but nothing happens if you don't follow those guidelines.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen
That needs to be
the documentaries about like the massive sibling pods that are out there.
I don't think that it really clicked to me how many siblings there would be. Because the chances are, when banks say we're going to cap it at this many, there's probably going to be that many.
Probably.
You know, because the bank wants to make money. They want to sell the sperm.
We'll never say how many siblings there are.
No.
Because it's not up to us. In my head, I probably thought there would be like 2.
Right?
There's not 2. I'm just
And
going to say that.
if you think there is 2 and you used a donor from a big bank, there's probably more than 2. You
There's
just
probably
don't know that.
a lot more than 2. The people we've connected with even.
Yeah, I
we
do
think that's
that.
the number, but it's not. There's definitely more than the people who have come forward and said,
Yeah.
I report a pregnancy.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who are maybe never going to share that they even used a donor with anybody.
Yeah. I think
You know,
that our
that's
sibling pod is different than a lot of others. I don't know if there was something about the donor that made us all very similar, but I think that it's kind of rare for so many people to right from the get-go be like, let's find other donor siblings and connect.
Yeah. Not everyone is on the same page. It's different people.
Yeah.
Different spots in their journey. I think a lot of people are really interested in also like advocacy for donor conceived people and like
in our
learning, which is like we've learned so much from the other parents, which is so cool.
Yeah,
and
they're always like, "Hey, there's this podcast episode
it's
that's really
so
helpful.
cool.
There's this documentary." They're all so great.
We
like,
really
I feel so lucky.
love a lot of them, and we've gotten to know a lot of them really well, which is cool. It's like extended family.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we'll be lifelong friends with so many of them, which is really cool.
It is an extended family.
It's
our kids' family.
It is. They're
crazy.
Siblings.
Yeah. I'm saying that I wish that we had thought about how we would connect with donor siblings, terminology we'd use, and things before our kids were born, but kind of we did.
Yeah, once we were pregnant with the twins, then we started being like, okay, maybe
we're
we'll
having
try to
donor
find...
conceived kids. We should probably.
Yeah, that's when we started to find the siblings.
Yeah.
Like before the boys were born.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a cool journey actually.
Yeah.
We say we wish we knew all these things, but I'm glad in a way that it did turn out the way it did,
Oh,
because it's giving us the opportunity to learn now, and also we've connected with these people who I think we were meant to connect with, and maybe if we had taken a different path, we obviously wouldn't be having this extended family, and I think it's a cool thing to have. For like support of the kids, because like the boys, they might also not want to know the siblings, and that's okay.
Yeah,
but
they can change their mind at any point.
totally fine. We support them and we'll follow their lead. It might be cool for them to have people who are in the same situation they can talk to and support each other. If they have days where they're like, it just really sucks that I don't have a dad, and they want to talk to somebody who gets it. We don't get it the same that they're gonna feel, so it's like really cool that they have these siblings that they can chat with and be like, sucks, who knows what it'll be about, but if they want to, it's there.
I think especially as teens, when teens like they don't want to talk to their parents as much, it's just like a thing that happens with teenagers. It'll be nice that at least they'll have each other that they can talk to if they want to. So how do you find donor siblings?
There's many ways.
I always like to share this.
There's the donor sibling registry.
You have to pay to be a member of that, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
But you can register, even if you used a donor or you yourself are donor conceived from 20 years ago, you can still register on there. There's also donors that put themselves on there eventually.
There's also some of the sperm banks have ways
forums
that you can connect. You can just search on Facebook. There might be groups that other parents have made with the donor number.
Yep.
So you could try that.
Or you could join a Facebook group for whatever bank you used and then search your donor number in there to see if anyone's ever shared, like, hey, I used donor da-da-da. Does anyone want to connect?
Even just Google,
Yeah.
cryobank name and the donor number.
See what
comes up. See what comes up.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to find.
And if nothing comes up and you want to be able to connect with people, you could always be the
make
one
one.
to make the group, make the post.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone has to do it.
So, yeah, if you're interested, that's something you could do.
Yeah. We didn't really think much about using a known donor. I guess we should define first, what is a known donor?
Don't take my definition as facts. A known donor is somebody you know, that you can meet in person and know their identity.
I will put a definition of known donor here.
Okay,
Because you were very unsure.
Feels like that's what it is, but it could be wrong.
So we very, 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 very briefly thought of a known donor.
Yes, we thought, is there anyone we could ask?
And immediately thought no.
It was a hard no. There was nobody we wanted to ask. You know, if we had used a friend or someone, we didn't know how all parties would feel in the future. That was just an immediate no for us.
No, but I do wish maybe we thought about it a bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe if it was now, in 2025, where there are agencies that connect you, they're kind of more of a known donor. They just donate to you. There are like matchmaking agencies and stuff like Seed Scout that can help you find a donor that's more of a known donor than using a bank. Maybe we would have explored something like that. We didn't.
Yeah, I feel like we would have maybe thought a lot more critically about all the options if we were like this age.
Mm-hmm. This level of knowledge.
Yeah.
About donor conception.
Because we didn't know much.
We were very naive.
And we just went into it like not as like the adult minds we are now, I think. Like I think we've grown a lot in those 5 years mentally, you know?
Yep.
So I think we would have thought of it a lot differently now than we did then.
Mm-hmm. And one reason that we do know what we know now, and what we definitely should have done before pursuing donor conception, is listening to donor-conceived adult stories and best practices. And we are so sick.
We're really sick.
Toddler life. Doing more research into the lives of donor-conceived people.
Yeah.
Because we didn't think of that at all before choosing a donor and going ahead with our donor.
We didn't think at all. We didn't think about how it would feel on that end. No. We didn't think about how it would feel on this end. We have learned so much by listening to donor-conceived people, and I think even within donor-conceived people, there's so many different opinions because everyone is so unique. And like our kids might not relate to like the majority of the opinions, and that's okay. So I think everyone's experience is really unique, but it's important to listen to all the different aspects of it.
Yeah.
So that we can consider all the aspects. But we didn't do that until we had the kids.
Yeah. We definitely should have done that before.
Yeah, we definitely should have. But now we know. You can only move forward. And you can only learn more as you go.
Yeah.
So we are.
So if you are interested in finding donor-conceived people to listen to, social media is a great resource. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can find people.
There's so many.
There's Facebook groups. There's ways that you can connect. This might have been a bit naive of me, but I assumed that choosing an open ID donor, which means at 18 the child can find out the identity of the donor, I assumed that that meant if our kids wanted to have a relationship with the donor, that they could. Yeah. That if they wanted to meet, that they could. I completely didn't think about the fact that the donor could say no.
Yeah, we didn't even consider that.
I didn't consider it.
So whenever a child reaches out, the donor might be like, no. Hard no. Bye.
I don't want to talk to you.
No relationship. Don't want to talk to you. Don't want to meet you. And that's a very real possibility.
And I didn't even think of that.
We didn't. We just thought, oh, great.
Open ID means at 18 the kids can.
But like, that's also a human being and a person who has their own thoughts and feelings that may have drastically changed from the time that they donated. Maybe
the 18
not.
Years, yeah.
Who knows how they're going to feel. So open ID does not equal yes relationship if they want it.
Yeah. Okay, this is a hot take.
Okay.
A lot of people say a donor does not equal a dad or a father. Yeah. And the hot take is that's not really up to us to decide.
Yeah.
Because it is their genetic parent.
Yeah. I used to get offended. And if you're at that stage
where you're offended by what I just said,
I understand because I felt that way. And when people would say, like, does he look like his dad? I'd be like, oh my God, this is the most offensive thing you've ever said to me. He doesn't have a dad. Well, it's just science. He is the biological father. Like, he is.
There's no getting away from that.
It doesn't make me any less their mother by him being a biological father. If they want to call him whatever they end up calling him, that's cool with us.
They being our children.
Yeah. We don't care. It's whatever they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
They might never want to talk about him.
Ever.
Cool.
Yeah.
They might be like, that's my dad. And we'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to tell them how they feel and what they want to call him. But I get a lot less offended now when people innocently say things like that because they don't know. And like, they're just thinking like, that's the biological parent or like the biological father, which it is scientifically. And I don't find it offensive anymore because I don't think it's meant to be offensive. It's just like, they don't know what to say. They don't know the terminology to use, and it is scientifically right. But I do think a lot of people get offended, and I totally understand that because I did feel the same way.
And that goes with the next point, realizing that our kids are going to have thoughts and feelings about being donor conceived, and we cannot control that. Sometimes people have this mindset, and I know I did, of like, well, I'm going to raise them so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that they're donor conceived because I'm going to raise them that it doesn't matter. But there are people with opinions and thoughts, and you know, like, they're going to have their own thoughts and feelings on things.
Yeah. They might never think about it once. They might not care. They'll be like, stop, we don't care. We don't care.
Yeah.
Let it go. I'll be like, okay, that's great. Cool. But they might. And they might be like, we want to do ancestry DNA. We want to find all these things. Okay. I get that too. There's so many different ways they could feel. And even our own kids might feel very differently from one another.
They might.
And we just support them. No matter what. It doesn't matter how they feel. We're not going to insert our opinion. I mean, at this stage, in a way, we are asserting our opinion because that's all we have to go by.
Because they're two.
Our mindset is like, we connect with the siblings for medical reasons to avoid accidental sibling dating and to give them the opportunity to have those connections built if they choose. You can always stop the connection, but you can't get them as time back. We are obviously putting our opinions on them now.
Yeah.
But as they grow, I think we'll step back from that and be like, what do you, like, do you want to go to the sibling meetup? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do you want us to FaceTime? Yes or no? Do you want to know updates? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they might say no.
And I think that that's the best we can do. Is just
That's all
them.
we can do.
Yeah. And try to put like our feelings aside.
Yes. Because it doesn't ultimately matter to us. We can still keep in touch with the other parents for our own support if we want to, even if the kids don't want to know each other. But we'll see. It'll be cool to see how they feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last thing.
Okay, one last thing.
Donors can lie on their applications.
Oh,
They're not fact-checked. I don't think I realized that.
Yeah.
But just be aware.
They could lie. They can lie. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Lots to think about.
If you have any questions, maybe leave them below and we can chat about them in future videos.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to know our thoughts and feelings on things.
And like this
resources, anything that you're curious about.
Yeah, it's our experience. And I feel like a
Keep
lot
in
of
mind
people...
it is our experience.
Yeah, a lot of people feel differently.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just our experience.
Yeah.
And it's good to get all types of different opinions.
Yes.
All sides.
Allie is a
I like
Libra
to see up
through
and
and
consider
through.
all sides of every point.
You do. I love it. Well, sometimes it drives me a little crazy.
It just drives you nuts.
She always lays all the sides. She will tell you every side.
Even if you're like, oh, I think, I'll be like, even if I don't feel like that, I'll just be like, but.
And that's all sometimes I get mad at you.
And I'm like, I don't feel that way. I'm just saying this is a way that someone could feel out there. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with another video.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.